May our Father, Messiah, and Holy Spirit be with us. I'm trying to figure out this new stuff they got going on with the phone. They always got to update something, right? That's why we always got to update as well. Is that where I am? Oh, no, this is where I am. I thought I had got past this point. Repute is preferable to great wealth. Grace is better than silver and gold. Rich man and poor man meet. Our Father in heaven made them both. The shrewd man saw trouble and took cover. Sorry, I gotta get The shrewd man saw trouble and took cover. The simple kept going and paid the penalty. The effect of humility is fear of our Father in heaven. Wealth, honor, and life, thorns and snares are in the path of the crooked. He who values his life will keep far from them. Training the lad in the way he ought to go, he will not swerve from it, even in old age. The rich rule the poor, and the borrower is a slave to the lender. He who sows injustice shall reap misfortune. His rod of wrath shall fail. The generous man is blessed, for he gives of his bread to the poor. Expel the scoffer, and contention departs. Quarrel and continually cease. A pure-hearted friend, his speech is gracious. He has the king for his companion. A pure-hearted friend, his speech is gracious. He has the king for his companion. He has the king for his companion. Wow. The eyes of our Father in heaven watch the wise man. He subverts the words of the treacherous. The lazy man says, "There's a lion in the streets. I shall be killed if I step outside." The mouth of a forbidden woman is a deep pit. He is doomed by our Father in heaven, falls into it. If folly settles in the heart of a lad, the rod of discipline will remove it. If folly settles in the heart of a lad, the rod of discipline will remove it. So I got to discipline. And to profit by withholding what is due to the poor is like making gifts to the rich, pure loss. To profit by withholding what is due to the poor is like to profit by withholding what is due to the poor is like making gifts to the rich, pure loss. Facts. Incline your ear and listen to the words of the sages. Pay attention to my wisdom. It is good that you store them inside you, and that all of them be constantly on your lips, that you may put your trust in our Father in heaven. I let you know today, yes, you, indeed, I wrote down for you a threefold lore, wise counsel, to let you know true reliable words, that you may give a faithful reply to him who sent you. Do not rob the wretched because he is wretched. Do not crush the poor man in the gate. For our Father in heaven will take up their cause and despoil those who despoil them of life. Do not associate with an irascible man, or go about with one who is hot-tempered, lest you learn his ways and find yourself ensnared. Do not be one of those who give their hand, who stand surety for debts, lest your bed be taken from under you. When you have no money to pay, do not remove the ancient boundary stone that your ancestors set up. See a man skilled at his work, he shall attend upon kings. He shall not attend upon obscure men. When you sit down to dine with the ruler, consider well who was before you. Thrust a knife into your gullet if you have a large appetite. Do not crave for his dainties, for they are counterfeit food. Unless you know right here is fake food out here, for they are counterfeit food. Do not toil to gain wealth. Have the sense to desist. You see it, then it is gone. It grows wings and flies away. Like an eagle, heavenward. Do not eat of a stingy man's food. Do not crave for his dainties. He is like one keeping accounts. Eat and drink, he says to you, but he does not really mean it. The more so you eat, you will vomit. You will waste your courteous words. Do not speak to a dullard, for he will disdain your sensible words. Do not remove up upon the field of orphans. Do not encroach. Do not remove ancient boundary stones. Do not encroach upon the field of orphans, for they have a mighty kinsman, and he will surely take up their cause with you. Apply your mind to discipline and your ears to wise sayings. Do not withhold discipline from a child. If you beat him with a rod, he will not die. Beat him with a rod, and you will save him from the grave. My son, if your mind gets wisdom, my mind too will be gladdened. I shall rejoice with all my heart. When your lips speak right things, do not envy sinners in your heart, but only Elohim-fearing men at all times. For then you will have a future, and your hope will never fail. Listen, my son, and get wisdom. Lead your mind in a proper path. Do not be of those who guzzle wine or glut themselves on meat, for guzzlers and gluttons will be impoverished, and drowsing will clothe you in tatters. Listen to your father who begot you. Do not disdain your mother when she is old. Buy truth and never sell it, and wisdom, discipline, and understanding. The father of a righteous man will exalt. He who begets a wise son will rejoice in him. Your father and mother will rejoice. She who bore you will exult. Give your mind to me, my son. Let your eyes watch my ways. A harlot is a deep pit. A forbidden woman is a narrow well. She too lies in wait as if for prey, and destroys the unfaithful among men. Who cries, woe, who, alas, who has quarrels, who complains, who has quarrels, who complains, who has wounds without cause, who has bleary eyes, those whom wine keeps till the small hours, those who gather to drain the cups. Do not ogle that red wine as it lends its colors to the cup. As it flows on smoothly, in the end it bites like a snake. It spits like a basilisk. Your eyes will see strange things. I actually got something in my eyes right now. I was trying to touch them, but man, I found my son looks pretty clean. My hands, because I was just touching the dip bar and stuff. But I know I got stuff in my eyes. I was crusting my eyes still. Make my vision a little blurry. Your heart will speak distorted things. You will be like one lying in bed on high seas, like one lying on top of the rigging. They struck me, but I felt no hurt. They beat me, but I was unaware. As often as I wake, I go after it again. Do not envy evil men. Do not desire to be with them, for their hearts talk violence, and their lips speak mischief. A house is built by wisdom and is established by understanding. By knowledge are its rooms filled with all precious and beautiful things. Amen. A wise man is strength. A knowledgeable man exerts power. For by stratagems you wage war, and victory comes with much planning. Wisdom is too lofty for a fool. He does not open his mouth in a gate. He who lays plans to do harm is called by He who lays plans to do harm is called by men a schemer. He who lays plans to do harm is called by men a schemer. The schemes of folly are sin, and a scoffer is an abomination to men. If you showed yourself slack in time of trouble, wanting in power, if you refrained from rescuing those taken off to death, those condemned to slaughter, if you say we knew nothing of it, surely he who fathoms hearts will discern the truth. He who watches over your life will know it, and he will pay each man as he deserves. My son, eat honey, for it is good. Let its sweet drops be on your palate. No, such is wisdom for your soul. If you attain it, there is a future. Your hope will not be cut off. Wicked man, do not lurk by the home of the righteous man. Do no violence to his dwelling. 7 times the righteous man falls and gets up, while the wicked are tripped by one misfortune. If your enemy falls, do not exult. If he trips, let your heart not rejoice, lest our Father never see it and be displeased, and avert his wrath from him. Do not be vexed by evildoers. Do not be incensed by the wicked, for there is no future for the evil man. The lamp of the wicked goes out. Fear our Father in heaven, my son, and the King. Fear our Father in heaven, my son, and the King, and do not mix with dissenters, for disaster comes from them suddenly. The doom both decree who can foreknow. They also are by the sages. It is not right. It is not right to be partial in judgment. He who says to the guilty, you are innocent, shall be cursed by peoples, damned by nations, but it shall go well with them who decide justly. Blessings of good things will light upon them. Giving a straightforward reply is like giving a kiss. Put your external affairs in order. Get ready what you have in the field, then build yourself a home. Do not be a witness against your fellow without good cause. Would you mislead with your speech? Do not say, I would do to him what he did to me. I will pay the man what he deserves. I passed by the field of a lazy man, by the vineyard of a man lacking sense. It was all overgrown with thorns. Its surface was covered with chickweed, and its stone fence lay in ruins. I observed and took it to heart. I saw it and learned a lesson. A bit more sleep, a bit more slumber, a bit more hugging yourself in bed, and poverty will come calling upon you, and want like a man with a shield. These two are Proverbs of Solomon, which the men of King Hezekiah of Jehudah copied. It is the glory of Elohim to conceal a matter, and the glory of a king to plumb to plumb a matter. Like the heavens in their height, like the earth in its depth, is the mind of kings unfathomable. The dross having been separated from the silver, a vessel emerged for the smith. Remove the wicked from the king's presence, and his throne will be established in justice. Do not exalt yourself in the king's presence. Do not stand in the place of nobles, for it is better to be told, "Step up here," than to be degraded in the presence of the great. Do not let what your eyes have seen be vented rashly in a quarrel. Do not let what your eyes have seen be vented rashly in a quarrel. Think of what it will affect in the end. When your fellow puts you to shame, defend your right against your fellow, but do not give away the secrets of another, lest he who hears it reproach you, and your bad repute never end. Like golden apples and silver showpieces is a phrase well turned. Like a ring of gold, a golden ornament is a wise man's reproof and a receptive ear. Like the coldness of snow at harvest time is a trusty messenger to those who send him. He lifts his master's spirits. Like clouds, wind but no rain, is one who boasts of gifts not given. Facts. Through forbearance, a ruler may be won over. A gentle tongue can break bones. If you find honey, eat only what you need. Less surfeiting yourself, you throw it up. Eat only what you need. Less surfeiting, you throw it up, or you have bad bowel movements. Visit your neighbor sparingly, lest he have his surfeit of you and loathe you. Like a club, a sword, a sharpened arrow, is a man who testifies falsely against his fellow. Like it is a man who testifies falsely against his fellow. Facts. Like a loose tooth and an unsteady leg is a treacherous support in time of trouble. This robbing on a chilly day, like vinegar on natron, is one who sings songs to a sorrowful soul. If your enemy is hungry, give him bread to eat. If he is thirsty, give him water to drink. You will be heaping live coals on his head, and our Father in heaven will reward you. A north wind produces rain, in whispered words a glowering face. Dwelling in the corner of a roof is better than a contentious woman in a spacious house. Like cold water to a parched throat is good news from a distant land. That's facts. Like a muddied spring, a ruined fountain, is a righteous man fallen before a wicked one. It is not good to eat much honey, nor is it honorable to search for honor. Like an open city without walls is a man whose temper is uncurbed. Like snow in summer and rain at harvest time, so honor is not fitting for a dullard. As a sparrow must flit and a swallow fly, so a gracious curse must backfire. A whip for a horse and a bridle for a donkey and a rod for the back of dullards. Do not answer a dullard in accord with his folly, else you will become like him. Answer a dullard in accord with his folly, else he will think himself wise. He who sends a message by a dullard will wear out legs and must put up with lawlessness. As legs hang limp on a cripple, so is a proverb in the mouth of dullards. Like a pebble in a sling, so is paying honor to a dullard. Like a pebble in a sling, so is paying honor to a dullard. So is paying honor to an unrighteous. It's like a pebble in a sling. As a thorn comes to the hand of a drunkard, so a proverb to the mouth of a dullard. It's a thorn to them. A master can produce anything, but he who hires a dullard is as one who hires transients. He is one who hires transients. As a dog returns to his vomit, so a dullard repeats his folly. If you see a man who thinks himself wise, there is more hope for a dullard than for him. A lazy man says there's a cub on the road, a lion in the square, the door turns on its hinges, and the lazy man on his bed, the lazy man buries his hand in the bowl. He will not even bring it to his mouth. The lazy man thinks himself wiser than 7 men who give good advice. A passerby who gets embroiled in someone else's quarrel is like one who seizes a dog by its ears. The passerby who gets embroiled in someone else's quarrel is like one who seizes a dog by its ears. That's foolish. That's why it's foolish to get into somebody else's quarrel unwisely. Talking to our Father, and the Son, and the Spirit. Like a madman scattering deadly firebrands, arrows, is one who cheats his fellow and says, "I was only joking." For lack of wood, a fire goes out, and without a quarrelless man, contention is stilled. Charcoal for embers, and wood for a fire, and a contentious man for kindling strife. The words of a quarrelless man are bruising. They penetrate one's innermost parts. Base silver laid over earthenware. Are ardent lips with an evil mind. Base silver laid over earthenware are ardent lips with an evil mind. An enemy dissembles with his speech, Inwardly he harbors deceit. Though he be fair spoken, do not trust him. For 7 abominations are in his mind. His hatred may be concealed by dissimulation, but his evil will be exposed to public view. He who digs a pit will fall in it, and whoever rolls a stone, it will roll back on him. A lying tongue hates those crushed by it. Smooth speech those one down. Do not boast of tomorrow, for you do not know what the day will bring. Lest let the mouth of another praise you, not yours; the lips of a stranger, not your own. A stone has weight, and sand. A stone has weight, sand is heavy, but a fool's vexation outweighs them both. There is the cruelty of fury, the overflowing of anger, but who can withstand jealousy? Open reproof is better than concealed love. Wounds by a loved one are long lasting. The kisses of an enemy are profuse. A sated person disdains honey, but to a hungry man anything bitter seems sweet. Like a sparrow wandering from its nest is a man who wanders from his home. Oil and incense gladden the heart, and the sweetness of a friend is better than one's own counsel. Do not desert your friend and your father's friend. Do not enter your brother's house in your time of misfortune. A close neighbor is better than a distant brother. Get wisdom, my son, and gladden my heart, that I may have what to answer those who taunt me. The shrewd man saw trouble and took cover. The simple kept going and paid the penalty. Seize his garment, for he stood surety for another. Take it as a pledge, for he stood surety for an unfamiliar woman. He who greets his fellow loudly early in the morning shall have it reckoned to him as a curse. An endless dripping on a rainy day and a contentious wife are alike. As soon repress her as repress the wind, or declare one's right hand to be oil. As iron sharpens iron, so a man sharpens the wit of his friend. He who tends a fig tree will enjoy its fruit, and he who cares for his master will be honored. As face answers to face in water, so does one man's heart to another. Sheol and Abaddon cannot be satisfied, nor can the eyes of man be satisfied. For silver the crucible, for gold the furnace, and a man is tested by his praise. Even if you pound the fool in a mortar with a pestle along with grain, his folly will not leave him. Mind well the looks of your flock. Pay attention to your herds, for property does not last forever, or a crown for all generations. Grass vanishes, new grass appears, and the herbage of the hills is gathered in. The lambs will provide you with clothing. The he-goats, the price of a field. The goat's milk will suffice for your food, the food of your household, and the maintenance of your maids. The wicked flee, though no one gives chase, but the righteous are as confident as a lion. When there is rebellion in the land, many are its rulers, but with a man who has understanding and knowledge, stability will last. A poor man who withholds what is due to the wretched is like a destructive rain that leaves no food. Those who forsake instruction praise the wicked, but those who heed instruction fight them. Those who forsake instruction praise the wicked, but those who heed instruction fight them. Facts. Even men cannot discern judgment, but those who seek our Father in heaven discern all things. But those who seek our Father in heaven discern all things. Even man cannot discern judgment, but those who seek our Father in heaven discern all things. Ask our Father to forgive me for every time that I stole anything, stealing stuff out of a store. Legend, don't ever steal anything. Ask our Father in heaven, Messiah, and Holy Spirit for everything. Better is a poor man righteously, not something that's unrighteous, everything that is righteous. Better is a poor man who lives blamelessly than a rich man whose ways are crooked. An intelligent son heeds instruction, but he who keeps company with gluttons disgraces his father. That's a fact. He who increases his wealth by loans at discount or interest amasses it for one who is generous to the poor. He who turns a deaf ear to instruction, I like that right there. He who increases his wealth by loans at discount or interest amasses it for one who is generous to the poor. He who turns a deaf ear to instruction, his prayer is an abomination. He who misleads the upright into an evil course will fall. He who misleads the upright into an evil course will fall into his own pit, but the blameless will prosper. A rich man is clever in his own eyes, but a perceptive poor man can see through him. When the righteous exalt, there is great glory, but when the wicked rise up, men make themselves scarce. He who covers up his faults will not succeed. He who confesses and gives them up will find mercy. Happy is the man who is anxious always, but he who hardens his heart falls into misfortune. A roaring lion and a prowling bear is a wicked man ruling a helpless people. A prince who lacks understanding is very oppressive. He who spurns ill-gotten gains will live long. He who spurns ill-gotten gains will live long. A prince who lacks understanding is very oppressive. He who spurns ill-gotten gains will live long. He who spurn, I gotta look up what spurns means. He who spurns ill-gotten gains will live long. I looked it up. Follow my sound spirit. Be with us. A man oppressed by blood guilt will flee to a pit. Let none give him support. He who lives blamelessly will be delivered, but he who was crooked in his ways will fall at once. He who tills his land will have food and plenty, but he who pursues vanities will have poverty and plenty. A dependable man will receive many blessings, but one in a hurry to get rich will not go unpunished. That's a fact. To be partial is not right. A man may do wrong for a piece of bread. A miserly man runs after wealth. He does not realize that loss will overtake it. He who reproves a man will in the end find more favor than he who reproves a man will in the end find more favor than he who flatters him. That's a fact. He who robs his father and mother and says it is no offense is a companion to vandals. A greedy man provokes quarrels, but he who trusts our Father in heaven shall enjoy prosperity. He who trusts his own instinct is a dullard, but he who lives by wisdom shall escape. He who gives to the poor will not be in want, but he who shuts his eyes will be roundly cursed. When the wicked rise up, men go into hiding, but when they perish, the righteous increase. When oft reproved may become stiff-necked, but he will be suddenly broken beyond repair. When the righteous become great, the people rejoice, but when the wicked dominate, the people groan. A man who loves wisdom brings joy to his father, but he who keeps company with harlots will lose his wealth. By justice a king sustains the land, but a fraudulent man tears it down. A man who flatters his fellow spreads a net for his feet. An evil man's offenses are a trap for himself, but the righteous sing out joyously. A righteous man is concerned with the cause of the wretched. A wicked man cannot understand such concern. Scoffers inflame a city, but the wise allay anger. When a wise man enters into litigation with the fool, there is ranting and ridicule, but no satisfaction. Bloodthirsty men detest the blameless, but the upright seek them out. A dullard vents all his rage, but a wise man calms it down. A ruler who listens to lies, all his ministers will be wicked. A poor man and a fraudulent man meet. Our Father in heaven gives luster to the eyes of both. A king who judges the wretched honestly, his throne will be established forever. Rod and reproof produce wisdom, but a lad out of control is a disgrace to his mother. When the wicked increase, offenses increase. But the righteous will see their downfall. Discipline your son, and he will give you peace. He will gratify you with dainties. Discipline your son, and he will give you peace. He will gratify you with dainties. Dainties. For lack of vision, a people lose restraint. But happy is he who heeds instruction. A slave cannot be disciplined by words, though he may comprehend, he does not respond. If you see a man hasty in speech, there is more hope for a fool than for him. A slave pampered from youth will come to a bad end. An angry man provokes a quarrel. A hot-tempered man commits many offenses. A man's pride will humiliate him, but a humble man will obtain honor. He who shares with a thief is his own enemy. He hears the imprecation and does not tell. A man's fears become a trap for him, but he who trusts in our Father in heaven shall be safeguarded. Amen. That's a fact. Many seek audience. Listen to that one. A man's fears become a trap for him, but he who trusts in our Father in heaven shall be safeguarded. Many seek audience with a ruler, but it is from our Father in heaven that a man gets justice. The unjust man is an abomination to the righteous, and he whose way is straight is an abomination to the wicked. Now listen to this legend right here, the true brother, sister. I feel like this brother right here, for sure. The words of Agar, son of Yakeh, man of Masai, the speech of the man to Ethael in Ukal. I am brutish, less than a man. I lack common sense. I have not learned wisdom, nor do I possess knowledge of the Holy One of Israel, who has ascended heaven and come down, who has gathered up the one in the hollow of his hand, who has wrapped the waters in his garment, who has established all the extremities of the earth. What is his name, or his son's name, if you know it? Every word of Elohim is pure, a shield to those who take refuge in him. Do not add to his words, lest he indict you and you be proved a liar. Facts. And it's a blessing that we'll see this, and we'll get to Job and we'll see that this happens. Do not add to his words, lest he indict you and you be proved a liar. Amen. Two things I ask of you, do not deny them to 2 things I ask of you. Do not deny them to me before I die. Keep lies and false words far from me. Give me neither poverty nor riches, but provide me with my daily bread. Lest being sated, I renounce saying, Who is our Father in heaven? Or being impoverished, I take to theft and profane the name of my Elohim. Do not inform on a slave to his master. Do not inform on a slave to his master, lest he curse you and you incur guilt. Do not inform on a slave to his master, lest he curse you, and you incur guilt. There is a breed of men that brings a curse on its fathers, and brings no blessings to its mothers. A breed that thinks itself pure, though it is not washed of its filth. A breed so haughty a bearing, so supercilious. A breed whose teeth are swords, whose jaws are knives, ready to devour the poor of the land, the needy among men. The leech has 2 daughters. Give and give. 3 things are insatiable. 4 never say enough. Sheol, a barren womb. Earth that cannot get enough water, and fire which never says enough. The eye that mocks a father and disdains the homage due a mother. The ravens of the brook will gouge it out. Young eagles will devour it. 3 things are beyond me, 4 I cannot fathom. How an eagle makes its way over the sky, how a snake makes its way over a rock. Facts, how a ship makes its way through the high seas, how a man has his way with a maiden. Amen. Such is the way of an adulteress. She eats, wipes her mouth, and says, I have done no wrong. Stay away from that. The earth shudders at 3 things, at 4 which it cannot bear. A slave who becomes king, a scoundrel sated with food, a loathsome woman who gets married, a slave girl who supplants her mistress. 4 are among the tiniest on earth, yet they are the wisest of the wise. Ants are a folk without power, yet they prepare food for themselves in summer. Ants are very intelligent, to be honest, and they're very sacrificing for themselves. Like, they'll give their life for the other, for the queen or for the, whoever is at the top. Like, even if water is coming, like, they'll literally climb, like, some will climb, like, they continuously climb over top of each other, some willing to drown, for the sake of the others making it to get away, The badger is a flock without strength, yet it makes its home in the rock. The locusts have no king, yet they all march forth in formation. You can catch the lizard in your hand, yet it is found in royal palaces. There are 3 that are stately of stride, 4 that carry themselves well. The lion is mightiest among the beasts, and recoils before none. The greyhound, the he-goat, the king whom none dares resist. If you have been scandalously arrogant, if you have been a schemer, then clap your hand to your mouth. As milk under pressure produces butter, and a nose under pressure produces blood, so patience under pressure produces strife. So patience under pressure produces strife. Amen. The words of Lemuel, king of Massa, with which his mother admonished him. Know, my son, know, O son of my womb, know, O son of my vows. Do not give your strength to women, your vigor, your ways to those who destroy kings. Wine is not good for kings, O Lemuel, not for kings to drink. Legend, nor any strong drink for princes, lest they drink and forget what has been ordained, and infringe on the rights of the poor. Young ones, even to myself, give strong drink to the hopeless, and wine to the embittered. Let them drink and forget their poverty, and put their troubles out of mind. Speak up for the dumb, for the rights of all the unfortunate. Speak up, judge righteously, champion the poor and the needy. What a rare find is a capable wife. Her worth is far beyond that of rubies. Her husband puts his confidence in her and lacks no good thing. She is good to him, never bad, all the days of her life. She looks for wool and flax and sets her hand to them with a will. She is like a merchant fleet, bringing her food from afar. She rises while it is still night and supplies provisions for her household. The daily fare of her maids, she sets her mind on an estate and acquires it. She plants a vineyard by her own labors. She girds herself with strength and performs her task with vigor. She sees that her business thrives. Her lamp never goes out at night. She sets her hand to the distaff. Her fingers work the spindle. She gives generously to the poor. Her hands are stretched out to the needy. She is not worried for her household because of snow, for her whole household is dressed in crimson. She makes covers for herself. Her clothing is linen and purple. Her husband is prominent in the gates. As he sits among the elders of the land, she makes cloth and sells it, and offers a girdle to the merchant. She is clothed with strength and splendor. She looks to the future cheerfully. Her mouth is full of wisdom. Her tongue will her tongue with kindly teaching. She oversees the activities of her household and never eats the bread of idleness. Her children declare her happy. Her husband praises her. Many women have done well, but you surpass them all. Grace is deceptive. Beauty is illusory. It is for her fear of our Father in heaven that a woman is to be praised. Extol her for the fruit of her hand, and let her works praise her in the gates. Amen. Hey, let's go. We got Job. Yeah, Father, Messiah, Spirit, be with us. I'm going to stop and I start it again, Father willing. Amen.